Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. After a long hiatus, I have with me Jennifer Zeng as we discuss what is happening in China in light of the new fiscal stimulus program that they have got. What are the effects of it? Is China going down the path of ruin? What is really going on? What are the different parameters that indicate how China's economy is doing, and all that and more. So let's welcome Jennifer Zeng. Jennifer, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So Jennifer, I saw with interest your quick short video on X where you talked about what happened, and also there are rumors flying around that Xi Jinping is not exactly in control, but the control is in the hands of two individuals. This is all rumors, viewers. We have no confirmation one way or the other. So we just wanted to place the data before all of you. So whenever you want me to, I can start the slide deck.
Okay, so you want me to talk about the rumors first?
Yes.
Yes, I think the rumors really started and when they have the third plenary session. First, there were rumors that Xi Jinping had a stroke, and then he appeared afterwards, and then people say he didn't have a stroke, and then he disappeared for another 3 weeks, and after he reappeared for the first time, and when he received the Vietnamese new CCP head, General Secretary, yes, people found there was a very small scar on his head. So people suspected he didn't have a stroke somewhere in his brain, and he had maybe a very small brain operation. So since then, you could observe many abnormal things about China on this Chinese political arena. The most noticeable is there were less mentioning of Xi Jinping, and there were more reports of other CCP leaders. And very recently, there were several things that people think that are quite abnormal. One is there was a military meeting of the whole army. Every, head of the army went to Beijing to have a first-time so-called theory study session, but Xi Jinping was absent from that meeting, and Zhang Youxia was heading the meeting, and another vice chairman of the Central Military Committee, which is more close to Xi Jinping, his name is 𝗤𝗼𝗄𝗠. He was not on the stage. Usually, if he is equally a vice chairman, he should be sitting together with Zhang Youxia, but he was not there as well. And also, one of the other closest aide of Xi Jinping, which is Cai Qi, he virtually disappeared from a lot of public events or activities or any mentioning of him. He disappeared for a long time as well, and only this time he reappeared when Xi Jinping went to Russia to attend the BRICS meeting. That's his only appearance. And another abnormality is while Xi Jinping was visiting Russia, Zhang Youxia himself I think hosting another large-scale military exercise. That is after, of course, the military exercise surrounding Taiwan. So that is, in the past, that is unimaginable, because if you dare to do something without the permission or the presence of Xi Jinping, that could be considered as a coup or a rebellion. But this time, of course, Zhang Youxia hosts another large scale. Of course, we can also say he did that under the instruction or permission of Xi Jinping, but it's very rare that a vice chairman of military hold a large-scale military exercise. And what more absurd is on October, I think from 24th to 26th, Zhang Youxia alone, of course, he had a delegation with him, but he headed a delegation and visited Vietnam. Although the Vietnamese report says he was invited by his colleague or a military, some kind of general in the army, but he was received like a head of the state. He was received by the chairman or the president of the nation and the general secretary of Vietnamese Communist Party. So the treatment he was given is like a head of the state. And what's more strange is his visit was, the first day was on 24th. And all the media in Vietnam reported about his visit and has large pictures of him having meetings with all the party head, the nation's head, the government head, and the military head. But Chinese media didn't report at all about his visit to Vietnam in the first 2 days, and they only reported it and very, very briefly, and even without a proper photo on 26, after I think he already returned to China. So that is also a very, very abnormal thing. So what to make all of this? We still don't have any conclusion, but these are abnormal things people observed. So there were rumors, flying around every corner of China now. So the most, I think, dominating one is Xi Jinping has lost maybe part of his power or part of his military power. Some are talking about 𝙤_𝗫 may step down, or maybe Xi Jinping will agree to hand over all his power or part of his power in exchange for his own safety after he stepped down. But there are also people firmly believe that Xi Jinping is still in a very firm, his power is still very firm and stable. Nothing has happened. So right now we really don't know because of course the dark box of the political operation in China.
Thank you, Jennifer. And now let's take a quick look at the new fiscal stimulus that China introduced into its economy. Actually, the day they announced that, the Indian stock market took a big hit because evidently a lot of foreign investors took their money out of India and they thought that they were going to invest them back into China. So talk to us a little bit about that. I'm just going to put up the first slide. Over to you.
Oh, yes. This actually is not has nothing to do with the stimulus package. These numbers are recently revealed by the vice president of the China's University of Finance and Economics, Professor Li Jianjun, in a finance forum where I think that's an annual financial forum where they have the head of all financial institutes, banks gathering together to discuss the financial situation. So this is a quite astonishing revelation because before this, the outside world has always been only guessing how bad the debt problem is, especially for local government debt. We have a figure of the central government debt issued, the bond issued by the central government, but local government, provincial government, even some city government are also issuing their own bond, and that is out of control and also always in a dark box. Nobody has any idea. Also, I think a while ago, people are giving all sorts of estimation, and the International Monetary Fund estimated the total level is 92 trillion. But according to the latest revelation by Professor Li Jianjun on October, I think, 18th, you can see from this screenshot, the legal portion of local government debt is over 42 trillion yuan. And then there's implicit debt from urban investment bonds that's over 57 billion. So, and plus 30 trillion central government. So in total, there's already 130 trillion yuan, and there are also a lot of implicit, he said, local government guaranteeing, which means they use government assets to guarantee, to give, to be guarantor of other people's borrowing. So if other people cannot pay, the government should also be responsible. He doesn't include that part of the bond. So only this three part, it's over 130 trillion, and it's above the GDP of the entire year of last year. So the debt to GDP ratio is over 100%. It's 103%. It's way above the 60% alert level internationally recognized. And so people were talking about this level. This situation is very nearly to, several years ago, Greece as a whole country, the government declared bankruptcy. So this debt level is very close to that level already.
You can feel free to navigate the slide deck. If you want to stop on this or to go to the next one, feel free.
Yes, so this slide is China's historical fiscal revenue and expenditure data. So from this, you can see a trend of how the fiscal revenue and expenditure evolve from this table start from 2010 to this year, and I think it's all the way to September of this year. So you can see at the bottom line, not the bottom line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 from the bottom line, it's January to September this year. So the total revenue decreased by almost 5.6%. So if the revenue decreased that much, that's the real economic situation in China. Although the CCP government declared they have a 4.8% increase of GDP, but GDP is very easily manipulated. So fiscal revenue is more real because usually they are more reluctant to make up this number, because if you say you've got this much revenue, then you need to spend it, right? So this is more real. So if you look at this number, this is the true situation of China's economy so far this year. And if you look at the fiscal deficit, you can see it's in red, except for only 1 year. From 2010 up to now, every year it's in deficit, and the deficit is like this year is increasing. Only 3 quarters. It's already reached. You can see here more than 6. I think 8. This is billion yuan, so it's 6,830 trillion yuan. So the deficit rate, the ratio is also increasing. The deficit ratio is the deficit divided by the total revenue. So it's in this 3 quarters. Sorry, we should go back. So in the 3 quarters of this year, it has increased to about 35%. So the situation is very, very seriously. And also, if you could look at the local government bond issue, up to now, there were already over 9 trillion bond already issued. So, and that's local government, and that's central government. And if you look at the last column, that's the local government debt. So up to September, there is another over 6 trillion US dollars yuan. Sorry, the unit of this data is yuan. So this year, it's altogether, I think China already issued 23 trillion yuan, but the 13 trillion of it goes to repay the debt, because there are a lot of maturing debt you need to repay, so they have to issue new bond to replace the old one. So those does not go into the real economy. It's you can say cycling inside the financial system. It has nothing at all to do with the real economy. So those kind of money can't help the real economy at all. So we say, so then for now 10 trillion yuan already go into the economy, but what we can see here is 5.6% drop in government fiscal revenue. So this is another supporting set of data, which is the profit data of industry profits, enterprises above a designated size. Above a designated size means industry companies who have a main business revenue of over 20 million yuan per year. So we can call them relatively larger companies. So these companies, you can see their profit data from last year to this year and the growth rate. So you can see total from January to September, it's a 3.4% drop. That seems not too much, but if you look at August and September, it's over 20% of drop from last year. So that is a very terrifying, I think, kind of drop. It means the economy is going down at an accelerated pace.
Thank you so much. I have one question. How do October numbers look? Are they going to be just as bad, minus 20 plus?
I haven't seen any October number yet, but if we viewing from all these other indicators, like how everyday people are feeling about the economy, and how more people are get laid off, and how more shops get closed down, and how some even government cannot pay their public servant properly, or hospitals cannot pay their staff, and how many people are committing suicide, and how many people are driving their cars and ramming against people just as a revenge against the society because they were too angry. And just several days ago, a 19-year-old boy, a very young man, actually killed another 32-year person. I think it's a company who introduced, you can say, some kind of introduction company. He find a job for this young man, so the company pays this intermediate, but he didn't pay the young man. So for only about $4,000 of money, 1 month of wage, this young man was so angry, he killed that person who just owed his 1 month of payment. So if you observe the what's happening in the society, you know the economy must be going down still very, very fast.
Well, that's a lot of concern. Let's go to the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's still, yeah. This just some economists are forecasting that this year, from the number of the first quarters, so they are forecasting that the total fiscal deficit of this year will be above 10 trillion, and the deficit rate will be above 37%, and that will be a historic record. Of course, this is the debt level in the first 3 quarters of this year. We've already talked about this. National debt, 9.7 trillion, and local government debt is nearly 7 trillion. So total debt is over 16 trillion. So this is a 12% increase from last year. So we need to understand, because the so-called local government bonds started maybe some a decade ago, and each year it's increasing. So from now on, it has already reached the point where more and more will be maturing. So that's why if you need to issue new bond to replace the old maturing bond, you need to every year you need to increase. So there got to be reach some limitation at some stage. If everybody has already spent everything they have to buy the bond, if you issue new bond, who will be buying them? That's a huge question mark. So this is also focus for this year. So they are forecasting this year the total bond issuing will be 23 trillion, but 13 trillion were just for repaying the old debts. So only 10 trillion could be used in the economy. So they are saying if you we talk about, I think it's Reuters reported that they say the Chinese Congress, National Congress, People's Congress will pass a stimulus package of 10 trillion. But if this year you've already put 10 trillion in it, and the economy is still goes down 5%. So if you really want to have to see any sign of improvement, they say you need to double the effort. So if you double the effort, if you suppose the repaying for old debts is still 13 trillion, you double the stimulus, it's 20 trillion, then you need to next year you need to issue 33 trillion, and that's a 2.75 trillion per month and 130 billion per day. So that's not achievable. So even if, can you imagine that kind of number? So people, some economists are just giving this number for people to see how it is useless. This so-called stimulus won't save China's economy. And I think this table is also very, very important. It tells us all the secret of the China's wealth, how the China's wealth is allocated between different group of people. So this is the China Merchant Bank Golden Sunflower and Above Customers Assets Evolution Table. So for them, their term of Golden Sunflower customer means customer who have an average daily balance in their bank account of above 500,000 yuan per day. That's a daily assets level. So you can see this how much overall customers they have, and how many of them are Golden Sunflower. We just call them big customers, and how many assets everybody has, and how many assets this Golden Sunflower customer has. So if you look at the yellow column, that's the ratio of out of all the customers, how many of them are Golden Sunflower customer. So you can see the ratio is somewhere between 0.9% to 2.5%. So this means only 2.5% of customer are big customer. A lot of them are only they have money less than 500,000. And look at the last column. I think this is the most important one to look at. So you see in 2007, like big customers, their assets is only 55% of the overall assets of everybody. But if you look at the number in 2023, it reached 81%, over 81.2%. So if you look at the last row, you can know the current status. Overall, only 2% of people has 80% of their wealth in the China Commercial Bank. China Merchant Bank is one of the top 6 banks in China. So if this is the situation in this bank, we can reasonably, I think, deduct or assume that the situation is the same in other banks or for the overall society of China. So yeah, this is China Merchant Bank. So if we apply that number to give an estimation of the wealth of Chinese people, so household saving as of October this year altogether is this much, 147.6 trillion yuan. But as we already know, maybe the general public only have 80% of that. So 80% of 127.6 trillion yuan is only 29.5 trillion yuan. So that's just a general, like everyday people altogether has this much. But China's total personal household debt is 81.6 trillion yuan. So of course, those 2% of people who have 80% of their money in the bank, they won't have any debt, of course. So all this debt is buried, borne by the rest 98% of people. So you can clearly see from here, they have more debt than assets in the bank or savings in the bank. That's the real situation in China. So we all know if you want to have the economy to go up in every country, the people's consuming power, purchasing power is very, very important. So no matter how much money those 2% people have, they can only eat 3 meals in one day, right? They can't spend endlessly. But for the 98% of money, they have negative assets. That's the biggest problem. Sorry, you are muted.
Jennifer, you said that 2% of Chinese people own 80% of the wealth of China. Is that wealth still sitting in China, or has it fled to other countries such as the United States?
Of course, that number is the money that is still in China, because that number comes from the bank's data of their customer. So it's in the Chinese bank, that's the percent. Yeah, if you consider the money that has already been moved out of China, maybe 90%, 95%, because only those people have the channel, the power, the ability to move money back. I think recently Wall Street Journal reported like this year, how much, over 2,000 billion or trillion, a huge amount of money this year alone has been moved out of China. So if you consider that money, it's maybe over 95% of the wealth belongs to the 2%. That's the money still in China. That's the situation.
And last question for you. We are both looking at the unfolding United States elections. You're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. And indicators are that Trump is going to perhaps come back. And let's say that that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see China's future given a Trump presidency again?
I think, of course, I did a program several days ago. Actually, the Chinese, at least the Chinese military think tank, has been studying the situation in China in a U.S. election. They also believe that Trump had a bigger chance to win, so they gave out three proposals in response to Trump returning to White House. Number one is to increase military support for Russia, and especially there were equipped 100,000 North Korea soldiers, deploy them to like North Korea will provide the soldiers, but CCP will provide the equipment to equip the soldiers. So deploy them to the Kursk region to fight the Ukraine. So they know Trump, they estimate as soon as Trump is in office, he will try to negotiate a peace agreement. So they want to help Russia to have more bargaining power in the negotiation to delay the process of a final result or conclusion to be reached. So the second one is, of course, they want to send more support to the Middle East, the axis of resistance. Of course, they want to keep the U.S. busy in that area too. And then, of course, they want to create as much chaos inside the U.S. as possible, so that they were hoping if they do something against Taiwan, the U.S. will be too busy to intervene. So that's their strategic response or their plan. So as to how I look at this issue, Trump already said he will increase the tariff against Chinese products. So that, I think, will do a great lot of damage to the Chinese economy. So I think actually the CCP's days are really numbered. Whether it's Trump, even if I think the Democrat Party stays in power, they are also not very friendly to the CCP now. So it's a common, I think the overall American public are fed up by the CCP. The majority is, I think, overwhelmingly against the CCP. So I think a Trump presidency, I think, maybe will do more damage to China's economy. And I think his vice president is also very, very tough and a very clear understanding of the communism damage. So if they have that kind of understanding there, I hope at least they can do more things actively, try to dismantle the CCP's ruling over China, not just to passively responding to the unrestricted warfare that the CCP is launching against the US and the world. So I think as we need to have the CCP go to really have peace and freedom for Chinese people as well as for the rest of the world.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And viewers, you should watch Jennifer on X. Jennifer, your handle is what on
Jennifer
X?
Zeng 97.
97. Jennifer Zeng 97. And it's Zeng is Z-H-E-N-G, right?
No, Z-E-N-G.
Z-E-N-G. Okay. Jennifer is standard Z-E-N-G 97. Do follow her. She has, I think, one of the most accurate and up-to-date data about what is happening inside China and US. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time out from your weekend to talk to us. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.